The biggest financial crimes in history weren't carried out at the point of a gun, but with a pen or the click of a computer key. The impact of these crimes runs a lot deeper than what is often seen on the surface. When companies go bankrupt due to fraudulent activities, thousands of employees, their families, and stakeholders can lose their life savings. Let's take a look at 8 of the biggest financial criminals in history. Number 1. Bernard Madoff. Bernard Madoff used a Ponzi scheme convincing people he could deliver high returns, which defrauded thousands of investors. Almost $65 billion, including all the phony gains along the way, was lost. When investors started asking for their money back, the house of cards collapsed. He was sentenced to 150 years in jail and was ordered to pay restitution of $170 million. Number 2. Enron. The Houston-based corporation, formed in 1985 by Kenneth Lay, focused on high-volume deals and short-term earnings driven by executives chasing generous performance-based bonuses. Arthur Andersen also shredded tons of documents and deleted some 30,000 emails and computer files, raising suggestions of a cover-up. Enron was declared bankrupt in 2001 with estimated losses of $74 billion. Shareholders lost almost $11 billion when its stock price crashed from $90 to $1. Up to 7,500 Enron employees in Houston lost their jobs. Kenneth Lay faced a 45-year prison term but died in July 2006 before sentencing. Enron president Jeffrey Skilling was sentenced to 24 years in jail. Number 3. Worldcom. Worldcom CEO Bernard Ebbers became wealthy from the rising price of his holdings in the telecommunication company's stock. In 2000, its downfall came through questionable accounting practices and misstating profits. Executives misstated more than $11 billion in profits. The SEC became suspicious and performed an audit on WorldCom. They found the accounting errors, and WorldCom filed for bankruptcy. Bernard Ebbers and Scott Sullivan, the CFO at WorldCom at the time, were both given prison sentences. Bernard Ebbers was sentenced to 25 years in jail. Number 4. Nick Leeson. Nick Leeson made unauthorized speculative trades that at first made large profits for Barings from his office in Singapore, earning a bonus of $200,000 on top of his salary of $90,000 that year. The Kobe earthquake of January 17, 1995, sent markets into a free fall, trapping Leeson on the wrong side of a trade. Leeson fled Singapore, leaving a note saying, "I'm sorry." Barings Bank was declared insolvent 5 weeks later. He was given 6 years jail sentence. Number 5. Alan Stanford. Stanford became the first American to be knighted by a Commonwealth nation, but only a few years later it emerged that his firm, Stanford International Bank, sold $8 billion worth of so-called certificates of deposit to investors, promising improbable and unsubstantiated high returns that never materialized. In March 2012, Stanford was found guilty on 13 of the 14 charges against him. On June 15, 2012, Stanford was sentenced to 110 years in prison for conducting one of the largest Ponzi schemes in U.S. history. Number 6. Jerome Kerviel. Jerome Kerviel, a junior futures trader, became a rogue trader and joined the list of financial crime by exceeding his authority by engaging in unauthorized trades, totaling tens of billions of dollars, and much more than the bank's total market capitalization. On January 18, 2018, the Compliance Department discovered an unusually large trade, which led to Kerviel's arrest. Kerviel had misused $1.4 billion of the bank's assets and left leadership to manage $73 billion in the long future. In 2009, convicted for breach of trust, computer abuse, and forgery, Kerviel received a sentence of 5 years in prison. Number 7. Yasuo Hamanaka. The head of Sumitomo's metal trading division, he was nicknamed Mr. Copper and controlled up to 5% of the world's copper. Hamanaka used his position to corner and squeeze the market higher through the London Metal Exchange for nearly a decade, earning handsome profits for his company and bonuses for himself. Eventually, the copper price crashed, leaving Sumitomo exposed to huge losses. The company denied any knowledge of his dealings and labeled Hamanaka a rogue trader, accusing him of forging a supervisor's signature. Number 8. Toshihira Iguchi. Early into Iguchi's career, he lost a few $100,000 and was tempted into selling off bonds to pay his losses. Following this, he concealed his unauthorized sales from the custody account by falsifying bankers' trust account statements to indicate that securities had not been sold. He is said to have forged more than 30,000 trading slips, among other documents, during the fraud. When customers sold odd securities, Iguchi had already sold off on his behalf. Fearing the damage his losses may cause the bank if inadvertently discovered, Iguchi wrote a confession letter to the president of the bank in Japan, detailing what had transpired. By this time, the loss was over $1 billion. Thanks again for watching, everyone. Let us know what shocked you the most down in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to be notified of our next videos, and I'll see you in the next one.